we have the pledges of allegiance, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Could we have roll call, please?
Mayor Scott,
Here.
Commissioner Budnick,
Here.
Commissioner Lenko,
Here.
Commissioner Perry,
Here.
Commissioner Schmier.
Here.
All right, public discussion for anyone that would like to say anything. You're very green today.
I know, I love those green cans. Very springy.
Thank you very much. This is me. Well, good evening, Mayor, Commission, staff, viewers. And I'm Ted Zachary, 68 Devonshire. And April 20th is a Saturday that the Detroit Zoo has an event. That event is about taking electronics to be recycled. And there's a reward for that. If you, let's say you have my visual aid, a telephone that's not working any longer, you bring it over there and you get a free ticket to the Detroit Zoo, which is really great. Now, if you have, they said if you have a bucket, if you have 2 buckets worth of electronics, then you get 2 tickets.
Wow.
But the unfortunate part, you have to call them up and register before you go. That's going to be on Saturday, so.
That's good to know that you have to register. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, next part. Storytelling in Pleasant Ridge is still continuing. It dipped down, but there was only 2 of us, but we told stories for one another. We're supposed to last for 1 hour, but we wound up talking to each other, storytelling to each other for an hour and 15 minutes.
Wow.
Oh, that's great.
So it's really great. Another thing that's really great is everybody in Pleasant Ridge is invited to Ferndale's storytelling. It's same day, it's a Thursday, but with them, it's not just once a month, it's every single Thursday at 1:30. And that's growing really well, I think.
Do you know where the Ferndale storytelling is?
Oh,
is
I can't remember the name of the street. It's,
okay.
it's where CVS is, a 9 mile on the east side.
Oh.
It's right around the corner, and the building has a strange name. Nobody can remember the name of the building.
Cool.
It's about 2 stories tall.
Okay.
But call up City Hall if you,
No.
if you,
Yeah.
And Ted, please remind me, what's the date of the Pleasant Ridge event? The monthly cadence? Is it the first Tuesday, Thursday
for the electronics.
for the TED Talk? Is that the first Thursday?
The storytelling.
The storytelling.
Storytelling first Thursday. It's just before the movie of the month.
Okay, got
It's
it.
going to go for 2 more months.
So first Thursday.
The storytelling. Okay. And just by the way, Hazel Park is interested in doing the storytelling too. Okay. I think I mentioned last time about American Sign Language. And I'm working on getting American Sign Language going. So far, any place where I could have it, but Ferndale is interested. Tomorrow I'm going to meet with Alicia Pardo and the other board members to promote American Sign Language. And it could go either way, just to have anybody who is interested in sign language just to chat. And the other way is to have an instructor that teaches us how to chat. So that's what I'm working on right now. So if you can, if there's any way of letting me know if anybody's interested in American Sign Language to converse, just casually. And I think that's it. Any questions?
I'll make sure to put something on Facebook and I'll let you know.
Beautiful. Thank you. Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Ted.
Thank you.
Dad.
Is that, wait, how does that work?
Thank you.
From the lip?
Oh, yes.
Lip to the heart. Okay.
Very good.
Yes,
Hello.
please.
I'm Joe Papillion. I own the apartment at 6 Woodward Heights and the apartment at 131 East Oak Ridge in Ferndale and the house next door at 137 East Oak Ridge. So I'm sure I'm a familiar face regarding your marijuana facility. So I'm just wondering, I'm thrilled that Hertz is gone, by the way. It's been much better. But what remains is kind of an eyesore. And I did send an email out and kind of disappointed I haven't gotten a response, so I'm here tonight. Can you give me an update what's going on? And I was particularly surprised to see that 2 of the buildings that are next to the Vox marijuana facility are up for lease. And I thought that parking was such an important part that they had to take Hertz. I don't understand how the parking situation is going to work out if we got now 2 properties that will be leased as well as the Vox marijuana. So all I want is an update. And then what's happening with the facility there? It looks terrible. It's an eyesore.
Jim, would you like to?
Yeah, they continue to work. We've been in contact with their representative, and they've been paused, but their work will be resuming soon. And they know that they can't lease those spaces out for the license agreement. So if they have the signs on the building, but they know that they're not allowed to lease those spaces.
Did you take a look at the email I sent? I have it here, and the lease shows 2 properties
Sure.
that kind of sandwich in.
If they lease those out, then that's a violation of their license approval, which their marijuana license will be rescinded.
Okay. Then I'm surprised that they're up for lease, but,
Or maybe we hope they're up for lease.
well, no, to get rid of the marijuana thing, but then what's gonna happen with the property? So, as much as I'm not in favor of the marijuana facility, the fact that Hertz is gone has been a huge improvement. I mean, a huge improvement. So, I just asked that for an update every once in a while of what's going on. I haven't seen any work at that facility in months, really. So, and I know the price of marijuana has come down and the market's saturated, and I'm concerned that Vox is gonna pull the plug, and what we're gonna end up with is an eyesore. And it's a particular eyesore for me, because it's right across the street from the Ferndale Apartments.
If they walk from the site, we have construction bonds.
Oh, okay.
So if they walk and disappear, which I doubt, they own the building. But one, we would make sure that they restore the site to a non-construction state. And if they didn't do that, we do have bonds. We could do it.
Okay. All right, thanks for the update, I appreciate it. And if there's anything further, maybe Ann or Jim, you could just shoot me an email just for an update, so I'm not pestering you with these kind of self-serving emails. I'm sure you're tired of hearing from me, but I'm so frustrated with the situation that I would like some communication. Okay, thank you.
Oh, no worries. Thank you. Yes, please.
George Lenko, 32 Oakdale. I strolled in the last meeting too late to see the, not the enrollment, the elevation of our sergeant to captain, so that was great. I missed the chance to thank the police force and Shawnee, I think Shawnee's back there, for the dialogue session, the punchki with the police, which was really great. I had more than my fair share of punchki. Thank you. The dialogue at the time, at least my dialogue at the time, focused a lot on traffic, speed, noise, all the stuff you guys have heard like a million times before. But I'm particularly concerned about noise enforcement. And Chief Rob said, like, the signs help, and it's very difficult to cite people for noise. And then you stop and think, okay, well, what else can we do? So I would thank the mayor for at least engaging in some dialogue about, like, what can we do about it? You know how we have speed sensors that do not issue citations, but they tell you you're doing good or you're doing poorly. These things exist. Some of the downsides, of course, are they're not available here. They're kind of costly and all that, but it would almost be great to have some sort of sign that shows how loud you are. The downside would be there's probably people who would fire up their cars just to see how loud they are. Anyway, but in the course of the discourse, Brett and I started looking at the legislation that's currently in place. When I was a youngster, mini bikes, motorcycles, or some of my friends put, what were those mufflers, the glass pack mufflers in, which made your car loud, and it's like we always got stopped all the time. And the law's been in place forever. It's just not enforced as it was. So we started looking at the law, MCL section 257.707. And as it turns out, you cannot have a loud car. If it's a street over 35 miles an hour, I'm going to have to look it up. You can't have more than 86 decibels. If it's a street 35 or under, which is what I hope Woodward to be for us, it's like, what am I seeing? I think it's 76 or under. Those numbers are kind of reasonable. That's like a blender. Whereas, you get into the hundreds, 120s, that's like a jackhammer. The very same law says that people cannot sell cars in Michigan. You cannot sell a new car in Michigan that exceeds these levels. A Dodge Charger Scat Pack is at about 106 decibels. A Hellcat's at about 126 decibels. And, my hope was that as we move to EVs more and more and more, things would get quieter. Lo and behold, Dodge comes out with, you're going to help me with the name of it, the Franzotic or whatever.
Yes.
They put speakers on the outside of their EVs to generate 126 decibels. Flat out against the law. And this is established law. That this is not something that's winding its way through. So even though our mayor encouraged me to send a note to Jocelyn Benson, to ask her to enforce it, or I guess I could have sent it to the AG as well. But I don't think John Q. Public doing it is as effective as if a city does it. And what would be more effective than a city doing it would be if the cities along Woodward that have partnered for noise abatement would send a joint letter, mayors, city managers, you name it, to the appropriate place, AG or Secretary of State, whomever, to demand that we administer this law. And the cool thing about it is the law is written in such a way that it's not that you have to be blasting at 126, it's that if it can do 126, it's illegal. And if, for instance, they throttled down the size of the noise so that all the Dodges and Camaros and Mustangs came in at 86, who would buy them, right? So I'm here to ask you to consider that the city attorney draft a letter, and that letter be offered to our neighboring cities, and that we send it jointly to the appropriate state administrator. Thank you.
George, what was that MCL section?
257, 707.
Yep. 707C, and bullet 2 is the one that says, a dealer shall not sell or offer for sale for use upon a street or highway in this state a new motor vehicle that produces a maximum noise exceeding the following limits, blah, blah. Like, the law's in place, and that's a lot easier than putting up sensors and chasing people with, sound triggers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Any other public comments tonight? And I won't let it drop. I'll follow up with you. Let's move on to the City Commission liaison reports. Commissioner Budnick.
Thank you, Mayor. Citywide garage sale is Saturday, May 11th. $25 for one of these bad boys.
And that gets you on the
signs are
map.
available April 1st, so they're good to go right now. Purchase them by May 9th by 5 p.m. to be included on the map, which is a huge advantage. Tennis lessons at Gainsborough Park will begin in May, and registration is already underway. And there is a pet ownership seminar, and this is a small visual, but anyway, it's on Tuesday, May the 7th at 6:30, and got a cute little photo here of a pooch. And come learn how to be a good neighbor and a pet owner. So if you have any questions, call 248-541-2902. And this is something that I think could be a lot of fun for folks that are just curious to learn more. And a few stats so far this year, we have 208 swimmers registered for our hometown piranhas, which is awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. We have over 100 families participating in the 2024 summer program, which I think sold out in record time. Most activities are full, but if you're interested, be sure to be added to the waiting list. You never know. And a few housekeeping items. Renew your pool passes when you have a chance from May the 1st to the 17th at the community center. Shawnee and Greg will be there. We begin staff training the week of the 20th for the pool. So it's very helpful to the pool staff if we can have everyone register before then so we don't have to interrupt training of all the guards. And the Wellness Center is for residents, just a reminder, all for residents ages 16 and older. If you have teenagers in your home with tags, please remind them of this rule as well. And for those that are not old enough or a non-resident, Planet Fitness offers a free membership to students beginning in May, which is kind of neat. And anything else, Shawnee?
The Ridgers went out. They were in mailboxes, so just lots of information in there. The May, June pool schedule's in there, so I had that out, put it on the fridge.
Wow.
Because we do have, you know, some late start dates, early end dates, home swim meets, things like that, but it's all noted on the calendar, so that's very helpful. Other than that, I think that's the biggest thing we're coming up to.
There's a lot going on this spring and summer.
Yeah, and we already have started registering pool tags.
Mm-hmm.
So if anybody wants
Okay.
to do that before May 1, that's great.
Cool.
The sooner the better. And the tag is renewable, so people can bring that in. You don't need a new one every year. It's a renewable tag.
Yes.
And Shawnee, one more. Just is it safe to assume that on the days we're like due to swim meets and such, Huntington Woods and vice versa, that we're going to reciprocate?
It will be noted on there if it is.
Okay,
Yeah,
got it.
because I'm not sure if our home and their away are sync up all three of them.
Got it. But
But
we've got
if
the
we
deal
can,
like we did
we will,
last year.
yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Mayor, one last thing.
Yes.
For the pet seminar, you do have to register, or pre-register rather, to be included. How is that? How do you do that?
So it is a link online, you know,
Okay.
to our registration software. So it's free
Okay.
to register. We just ask so that way for setup and emailing purposes, no gathering and stuff. So that way we can email any. She's making a slide deck, so we can email all that information out too.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
That's it.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
On to me about, on to you. About the Arts Council. I was anxious.
Thank you, Mayor. You are excited. That's very fun. The PR Arts Council met in March, and they have been working on making their plan for with Ralph Nunez, who is the planner who they've selected to help bring out or help create a community survey. And that will be a great time to engage everyone on questions about how you feel about art in different places, different types of art, and just all kinds of questions. And we will be looking for everyone's input. Their next meeting will be Wednesday, April 24th, 4:30 p.m. right here at City Hall. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? All right, on to schools.
Yay.
We have a representative here actually from Ferndale. Is there anything that you'd like to say for?
Oh, not tonight, Mayor.
Okay. I think all that I'll mention for everyone is that there's ongoing work to determine how the layout of the Ferndale High School will look. We have a workshop next week where we'll talk about the funding and the potential ways that might work, and how we keep kids in school and reinvent a building at the same time. So you'll hear more about that next month probably.
I'm sorry, can we ask, do we know anything more about where Roosevelt is headed?
I may have mentioned this last month. The move out for Roosevelt will occur, at least I think still occur, around the July 4th weekend. Maybe it's moving.
Okay, I'm gonna give an update.
All right.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Felicia Wright. I'm the interim deputy superintendent for Ferndale Public Schools and assistant superintendent of operations. So our plan is to actually move the existing lower elementary school beginning June 11th through June 28th. It's going to take us some time to clear the building. The majority of the furniture will either remain or be trailered or moved for summer school at University High School because new lower is getting an abundance of new furniture. They won't need it. Plan for the existing lower elementary school is for our central administration offices to move into the building effectively the week of July 1st through July 8th. That's the holiday week. So the Office of the Superintendent, my office, other central services, public relations, specialized student services, will all move into the building. We'll occupy the first floor. The lower level, what we like to refer to as the garden level, it'll be open, and so will the gymnasium. So we're looking to see how we can repurpose those spaces. Yeah, that's about it. I will add that at our facilities committee meeting next week, we'll also talk about Kulik.
Oh, yes.
Because I did have the opportunity to meet with the Detroit Audubon at the facility last week. And that's it.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Right, so for Pleasant Ridge residents living around the school, you'll probably see some activity through June and some move-in that weekend where might be inconvenienced just a little bit. If you're having a party on the 4th of July, you might actually see some trucks getting some stuff in to that building from other locations, as I understand it. But
Sounds like no more traffic jams.
no more traffic jams. Yes,
Heartbreaking.
it is heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh, I know what I need to tell
Oh,
you.
sure.
I completely forgot. The ribbon cutting ceremony, which you're all invited, is going to be held on Monday, June 10th at the new lower elementary school, right? And we're
Okay.
still planning for June fair at the existing lower,
Yes.
and that's gonna be on May 31st. I knew it was some critical dates I need to share here.
We'll put it on the
Okay?
calendar.
All right.
All right, so the June fair is May 31st, and the ribbon cutting is June 10th.
Yes, sir. The
Awesome.
last day of school is June 7th,
Right.
Thank you.
right?
And I understand June fair is a PTA thing, but that will
Yeah.
likely continue at the new facility? Is there any
We're not
chatter
sure.
about that? Okay,
Not sure. I got some feedback about it and just not sure.
got it.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Any other questions about schools? Awesome, thanks. Onward to Commissioner Lenko on planning.
Thank you, Mayor Scott. There was no meeting in March. The next meeting for DDA Planning Commission is the 23rd of April. So I encourage anybody who's interested in joining to please come. There really hasn't been any movement on the McKenna stuff, like as far as what the Planning Commission's seen, but I know, speaking with Jim, that they've submitted a preliminary plan that we'll be reviewing at the meeting on the 23rd. And upon adoption, we'll have the full schedule for, engaging with the public on the community master plan. So look forward to more updates next month. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, and last but not least, the Historical Commission.
Thank you, Mayor. So the museum will be open on the 20th at 10 a.m. to noon. So as always, come check out your folder. Come bring us photographs to put into the museum. I will actually be there on the 20th, so come say hello to me if you want to talk historical, or if you have any questions, I will be there from 10 until 12. 100-year tiles for people who have already ordered and paid. So these would have been people who ordered and paid for them about a year ago. They are here. They're in City Hall. You should have received a letter, an update, or an email actually, and an updated email should go out next week, but they are here ready for pickup. For houses that are turning 100, you should be receiving a mail or an email or a letter in the next couple months allowing you to order. Right now for Pewabic, there's about a 14-month wait period from date of order to receipt, so just know that there is a long delay. Beyond that, Historical met last week. It was a great meeting, really talking about different ways to digitize the library and also starting the conversations about getting the speaker series back. So those are all active conversations that are happening.
And I would encourage everyone, if you have a moment, to just stop by the Historical Museum, because at this time of the year, it's actually kind of wonderful, magical to see how everything's growing that's been planted around it. It's a really pretty piece of landscaping that the neighbors have put together, and it's a good time to come. So if you're here on the 20th, I would say come before the 20th and then come again on the 20th, because it'll look entirely different in this next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I agree. The garden club has done an amazing job, so it's
Yeah.
gorgeous back there. So absolutely.
All right.
Can you entertain a question? I was involved in the prior evaluations of the historic districts. There were a lot of non-contributing structures because they were less than 50 years old at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, now like they're mid-century modern and they're 50 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any thought of like backfilling those and bringing them into the district? I think the state of Michigan renewed the renovation subsidies. That might help. Just wanted to throw that idea out there.
Okay. No, I appreciate it. Let me do some research, have some conversations, and I appreciate it. Well, definitely, it's a good point. Thank you. And that is all I have. It's not something, by the way, we've talked about within the commission, but no, I appreciate it. So, thank you.
Cool.
Thank you.
All right, government reports. Good evening.
Good evening.
So just a reminder for everybody, the CERT class, and if you want to do it, make sure you register, call. It starts on April 22nd. And a reminder for everybody, it's great information. It really gives you information on first aid. So if you're ever somewhere you hurt yourself or you get hurt hiking or somebody else, how gives you some information how to help each other when help's not readily available. But also with severe weather, we get more and more power lines down. Just really will help you feel more empowered to know how to prepare, take care of yourself, your family, your neighbors, if you see fit. Anybody who does the class is not required to be on the CERT team. So if somebody just wants to come to the class to gain the knowledge, that's fine. When they come, they'll be offered the opportunity if they want to become a part of the CERT team, but it's not a requirement. So I just want to make sure people are aware of that. Again, it's free. I'll be popping in and out. I'm not teaching this one. I'm trying to empower others. But I will be around and, supporting anybody who wants to do it. So enrollment is a little low right now. We're trying to make sure people, if they want the opportunity, take advantage of it. That's all I got.
Awesome. Thank you.
April 22nd. And I can send the flyer to you again.
Great.
I meant to send it before. Okay. I'm like, ooh, if I missed it, I apologize. So.
And it's a month. I looked into it because I'm thinking I want to do it. I mean, it's gonna feed into all of my craziness,
is.
but I think
Yeah.
being safe is a good thing.
Yeah.
And learning these things. But it's a month, right? It's like about a month, and it's
Yeah, so it's Monday, Wednesday nights because it's a big class and there's a lot you learn. So I used to teach this before I came down to be chief down here, and I actually traveled around the country. I was part of the team that built this class and took the core program and adapted it to colleges and university environments. But you learn everything. You'll have a ton of fun. You're gonna learn a lot, but we even teach you how to do cribbing. So if somebody's trapped underneath something, how to lift up something and get them untrapped. I mean, so you really get to step
have
into
our
our
Man
shoes
of
as
Steel
firefighters
moments.
a little
Yes,
bit.
I know. I was just thinking.
And so you get to have some fun that normally you wouldn't think you would, because outside of teaching you how to take care of first aid, but some rescue in cases where something bad happened and help is delayed. And this, if you don't know, CERT started in Los Angeles. They have
Okay.
earthquakes and a lot of stuff out there. And it wouldn't be unheard of if they had a large earthquake or large disaster. It could be 72 hours before emergency services could get to you. So that was how this all founded. They decided we have to create some training for our communities and teach them how can you help yourself, help your family, help your neighbors, and make it through the first 72 hours, because it might take 72 hours for us, the emergency responders, to get there. So that's where they created the initial program, and then it came up to the FEMA on the federal level. And then we've adapted to colleges, universities, and other things. So that's where it came from. So that's why there's so many different things. You learn how to use fire extinguishers and just
Yeah, it sounds
and
great.
even have that disaster psychology component, which we overlook a lot. But when we're dealing with something that has us very stressed and gets us out of our comfort zone, it really stirs up a lot of emotions and different things, and how to understand that and how to deal with people that are really kind of overwhelmed by the situation they're dealing with in. So there's just a lot of components. So yeah, it's a big program, but you'll learn a lot, hands-on, not just sitting in the classroom, and okay.
Excellent.
Yes.
Is it twice a week for 4 weeks?
Yeah, I believe that's how they have it set up.
Okay.
So the county is coming in. Harvey for the county. He lives in Breeze. He
that's
does this. He oversees that for the county. He's going to be retiring in May, but he's going to help us kick this off and help me develop some of my younger firefighters that are going to step up and lead this. So there's some longevity with some people that are not ready to retire, to see this and kind of sustain this for our communities and have this keep going. And that's my goal, is for me to build up some of my younger people that can build some of these programs and see them through and not be somebody that's retiring in, 3 years or less. So that's kind of how this is. So the time frame was kind of on Harvey's schedule, and then he kind of set it where his availability, so that kind of how the schedule got created.
So twice a week, I think, during the week, and then one Saturday. Correct.
Yeah, so the Saturday will be the big hands-on, have a lot of fun, create a disaster, and you got to solve it all and make
Lift the
everything
car,
great
chop
again.
down a tree.
I see disaster around every corner, so this can
Yeah.
either like tip me one way or tip
Yeah.
me the other. You know, it's hard
And
to
when
say.
I taught this before, everybody that took the class had a lot of fun doing it. It feels like a lot, but it is a commitment. But hopefully when you come out of it, you'll feel like it was worth your time.
That's great.
Yes,
Thank you.
Yeah,
excellent.
So I'll sign all of you up now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Police.
Good evening.
Good evening.
First of all, thank you for last month. That was a very nice ceremony. I appreciate it. My family appreciated it, and my friends that showed up had a good time. So thank
Nice.
you. If I can backtrack to Ferndale Lower for a second, or as I call it, Roosevelt, and I'll always call it Roosevelt.
Yes, sir.
I don't know. I'm sure most of you remember Nate, that was the crossing guard there for a number of years, and he moved on to other things a few years ago. And when that happened, the chief and I at the time had a conversation, and we were trying to find someone to replace Nate. And we had the conversation over and back and forth, and we decided, you know what? No, the police officers can go out there in the morning, and that has been absolutely phenomenal for not only for our police officers, but for the kids, for the parents, and we're gonna miss that. I can tell you that the officers we're gonna miss it. We aren't gonna miss the traffic issues and the people trying to cut around us in the crosswalk, but we are gonna miss that and miss the kids. So it's been a good few years. One of our officers that actually left in December for greener pastures up in Alaska. He says, "Hey, how are the parents? How are the kids?" So, so we are gonna miss that. Excellent, thank you. Our main topic for the evening that I wanted to talk to you about, before Mr. Lenko stole the thunder a little bit, was the noise. We've been receiving, I've got voicemails, I've got emails. We're working on it. It's a difficult task. Not only are we involved in it, Royal Oak's involved with it, Berkeley, Huntington Woods, Birmingham. We had a meeting last year with Sheriff Bouchard about it. He's been on the news about it. It's not something that we're sitting on our hands with. We are actively dealing with it. The noise signs that do go out, they go out on Thursday nights, they come in on Sundays. That's because we think that's about the best time to really broadcast that we're out there. And not only that, but we can't have things permanently on Woodward because of MDOT. So that's why they're temporary. Put them up, bring them down, do the enforcement all week long, even though the signs are out there or not. I'm sure you see our officers out there pulling cars over. Some of them are for the noise, some of them are for traffic infractions. But we are out there, we are visible. We'll continue to work on this. This has been an interesting first month for me as chief. We're moving along. The officers are doing well, and you're going to see some cosmetic improvements in the police department over the next month or two. Other than that, I do have one other thing. I'm sorry. I always say at the end of this, lock your doors. Yesterday we got a call from someone and an email and it was a video from their door cam. I don't know if it was a Ring or whatever. Someone 2 nights ago pulled up in a car, saw that the car was unlocked, jumped into their car, went through their car, didn't take anything, jumped back out, got in the car that they came in, and took off. It's not just people walking. It's not just people strolling by, walking in the street. It's literally they're driving up, looking to see if they can see the car's unlocked. They jump out. They try the cars to see if the key's left in the car. That's how we get stolen cars. So please lock your houses, lock your cars. It saves a lot of problems. So, is there anything that I can help you with, or any questions that you have for me?
Got one. Oh, okay.
Yes,
Chief,
please.
thank you. And you reminded me when you mentioned the crossing at Roosevelt, but we had talked briefly about maybe the police having a presence like at the bus stops, like as the Roosevelt thing transitions out, but like there's value in, you know, engaging with the neighbors and building relationships that way and providing safety. Is that an idea that's still being considered? Or
You're talking about with the kids around town at the bus stop?
right, like at the,
So
like on Ridge or.
it'll actually make it a little bit easier because we always had one person that was always deployed over there. One of our officers was infamous for following the bus to make sure that people weren't going around the bus when the lights were on. So it's actually probably it's gonna free up some of our time to do that too. I mean, we're always out there in the morning checking on the kids, checking on the parents, but it's one of the many things that we'll do.
Thank you.
You had something?
We were talking about, I was at one of the women's club events, and we were talking about the neighborhood watch, because a couple of them were talking about how grateful they had been, that they had been gone for, you know, a month in February, and their neighbors were telling them how, yeah, the police came out and checked our doors.
Oh, our vacation watch.
Oh, vacation,
Yes.
that's it, sorry.
Absolutely.
But the vacation watch, and just what, it made them feel so good, because, you know, being gone for a month, you sort of feel like, what am I going to come home to? But they knew that that was safe, and all their neighbors reported back to them that you guys were all out there checking. So with the vacation watch, what is the policy? They just have to submit one of the forms to you, right?
Yes, we prefer that you do it online. So if you go to cityofpleasantridge.org, click the tab for police, and on the drop-down it says vacation watch. Gives we need all the info on there. It'll be the dates that you're gone, your name, contact numbers, and if it's day shift, the guys will, I keep saying guys, our officers, our officers will not only drive by the house, but they will walk around the house, check the doors, make sure that the home is secure. Our midnight officers, and all the officers drive by the house, but I make sure that the midnight officers are going by the house. We're checking to make sure that there's no cars there that aren't supposed to be there. They're shining the house, making sure that everything's the way that it should be. When you submit that online, it goes right to the officer's email. So it's there every day. We check on all that stuff and make sure that it's taken care of.
Thank you. That's an amazing perk. Thank you.
No problem.
That's all I have.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on to the consent agenda.
Mayor, I have a question.
Oh, yes.
I am so sorry. I forgot to do this earlier in the meeting. Is there a way we could pull the statutory revenue sharing reform resolution to the regular agenda?
Is there something that you'd like to add to the conversation, or?
Just, I would like it highlighted just a little bit. That is it, and if not, that's okay.
I can
'cause
read it too.
That'd be great.
Sure. Hold on, let me just pull it up. So as background, 1 second, I'm just going to pull it up. There we go. So as background, most cities in the state of Michigan have seen a severe decrease in the amount of revenue that we receive from the state of Michigan as a result of sales tax and other measures. It just kept going down and down. And my view is that it's relied much more on grants and other things to get money out, but that doesn't take care of day-to-day business. Grants often have a very specific purpose, and they don't take care of the things that you need to do every single day in a city. And so a number of cities are beginning to feel the strain of not receiving that revenue. We'd like to see a greater balance made on the statutory revenue share that we receive. And so Ferndale and several other cities are establishing resolutions to send a message to the state of Michigan that it would be time, now is a good time to begin to provide some greater balance to the money that we receive from these revenue sources, so that we can just take care of our normal business. It's just the challenge that we're all faced with. Everything that we do is more expensive. The revenue collected from sales tax and others measures is actually growing, but the way that it's being distributed makes it hard for cities to get things, just regular things done. That's my particular view on this. I think that's shared with others.
Yeah.
So we put together a resolution that that describes this. I'll read this for everyone just so that you have the language, and then we'll get a motion. How's that?
Great.
Okay. So the resolution reads as follows. Whereas the city of Pleasant Ridge, along with other local units of government in Michigan, rely on state revenue sharing to provide general fund services to our residents, and whereas state revenue sharing in Michigan is divided into two types, constitutional and statutory, with the latter being subject to legislative appropriations and subsequent reductions, impacting financial stability of local governments, and whereas the city of Pleasant Ridge has faced substantial declines in statutory revenue sharing, jeopardizing our ability to provide essential services, a predicament shared by all Michigan municipalities, and whereas through the state's annual appropriation process, actual statutory revenue sharing payments to cities, villages, townships, and counties have been below full funding each year since 2001. And whereas in 2023, the city of Pleasant Ridge received $80,551 less in statutory revenue sharing payments than it did in 2003. And whereas the cumulative statutory revenue sharing payment deficit for Pleasant Ridge is $2,508,521 over the past 20 years. And whereas such diminishing statutory revenue sharing imposes significant financial burdens on local governments, compelling us to either reduce services or increase local taxes, adversely affecting residents. And whereas in October 2023, the State House of Representatives voted 106-4 to amend the Michigan Trust Fund Act and the General Sales Tax Act, respectively, to establish a revenue-sharing trust fund that would distribute money from sales tax revenue to local units of government. The act creates a stable and predictable source of revenue by dedicating a portion of sales tax revenue for other statutory revenue-sharing payments. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the City Commission of the City of Pleasant Ridge implores the state representatives and Governor Whitmer to support the adoption of House Bills 4274 and 4275 of 2023. Be it resolved, a copy of this resolution will be dispatched to the Governor of the State of Michigan, the State Senate Majority and Minority Leaders, the State House Speaker and Minority Leader, Senator McMorrow, and Representative Scott, with signatures.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That tells the story very well. That's a great resolution.
I like
Thank
it.
you. Has
Yeah,
all the numbers in there.
Yes, it's not a problem that is specific to us. It's literally every Michigan city. And I think, in my view, getting us out of this habit of having to hunt for money through grants and things, there are just certain basic things that need to be done in every city that it would be better for us to be distributed the money to get and to keep things running.
I know one of the council people in Ferndale reached out to me, and she was working to get a lot of the Southeast Michigan to, do a resolution and send it up to the state. And it's important that we keep talking about what's important to us, to them. So hopefully this can make a difference. I know it's created the need for different millages increases and things like that through the city. So thank you very much for highlighting it.
Oh, you're welcome. May we have a motion?
Mayor, I move the consent agenda be approved.
I second.
Any other comments? May we take a vote?
Commissioner Schmier,
Yes.
Commissioner Perry,
Yes.
Commissioner Budnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Lenko,
Yes.
Mayor Scott.
Yes, the motion carries. All right, on to item 8, the pool guest pass policy.
Thank you. Shawnee?
Chris, and you can quote me if there's any mishaps on my part, but at the January meeting, the rec commission made the recommendation that we do keep no guest passes Memorial Day weekend, and then limit guest passes on the actual 4th of July and Labor Day to 6 per household, 6 guest passes per household. And that was our recommendation. In the packet, you guys can see how many guests came on every day for the summer. But it does really take up a lot of space. While we do love to have our guests, most of them don't know the rules. So when you have 88 of them at one time, it is very heavy on the pool staff to navigate that. So that was the recommendation, and hopefully everybody is supportive of that. Or if there's any questions, please feel free to let me know here. If I don't have that answer, I can get that information from Greg anytime. But Chris was there, and everybody was very supportive of that decision. We do have lots of people on the rec commission that utilize the pool, so they see these holidays being very heavily attended on those special days. So, especially when people don't have to work, and then Labor Day, of course, when you have 35 guest passes, you're having people over. You've only used 4 all summer, and you bring 30 in one day. It leaves us, with limited chairs, staff.
So I shouldn't
all
do
of the
that.
resources.
So I shouldn't do that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very difficult when people do that. So while we love them, we hope people spread them out a little bit better.
And this leaves Memorial Day the same, which is no
guest passes.
No
Yep.
guest passes.
Right.
Got it.
So our lifeguards are 15. Most of them, this is their very first job. So that leaves us a good weekend to get acclimated to the staff, to each other, the pool, all of the pool rules and stuff. So we find that one to be a good value for everybody. Chris, was there anything else from that meeting, really? I mean, I think
From the resident perspective, it was really nice. One of the silver linings of COVID was going to the pool and it just being residents for some period of time as we started to reopen. I think the second year, 2021 maybe it was. So that was kind of the impetus as well, is that it's nice, especially on that first weekend, to let the guards get their feet wet. And then it's also for residents to just kind of, it's the first weekend, you can have some time and then slowly start to bring guests in. So it was a resounding yes from the rec commissioners. And it's encouraging seeing a junior commission that brings forth something to the city commission that we can implement and put in practice. So seems like a no-brainer.
yeah. And it's nice, those are avid pool users too, so it's not like they're just like, willy-nilly bringing information to the table. So it's nice
Right.
that they had valuable input as residents, as pool users.
Cool.
But we did have all of the support data, and you can kind of see it's like 4, 6, 8, 88. So
I was wondering actually why it was so much higher, but
Yeah.
that totally makes sense.
explains
You
it.
have your leftover passes and
Right. Just use them up.
have a party.
And Labor Day was gorgeous. The whole
Yeah.
weekend was beautiful, and the weather always is going to be a huge factor in pool, obviously. But
And you still have guest passes on
And
those
you-
2 days. You
yeah,
still have 6.
yeah.
You know?
we still have 6.
You still have 6.
Yeah, I don't
And
know
there's no
6
limits
people.
for the Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. It's
I
just
do know
the actual
88,
day.
though. So I bring
Right. And that is actually a good point. You still have 6.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. Yep.
That's a lot.
It's
That is
still
a
a
lot.
lot. Yeah. So if we have 100 households and 6 guest passes, that's still a lot of extra
Yeah.
people.
Wait, maybe
Yeah.
we need to rein that out. Cool.
All right. Thank you.
So if there's any other questions about that, please feel free. Greg and I are always at the rec center, and we are happy to, when people have questions about that, if you get them on your receiving end, have them call our office and we can kind of explain the numbers and stuff too. I'm not sure if there will be any pushback, but potentially if there are, have them give us a call.
Well, this is unique in the sense that it came from Junior
Direct-
Commission.
yeah.
From,
So-
yeah, so that's,
The people have spoken. You know, it's really democratic process, so it was great.
thanks, Sean.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
All right, may we have a motion?
Mayor, I move to receive and file the Recreation Commission policy change.
A second?
Any other conversation? Let's take a vote.
Commissioner Budnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Lenko,
Yes.
Commissioner Perry,
Yes.
Commissioner Schmier,
Yes.
Mayor Scott.
Yes, the motion carries. Let's move on to item 9, cross-connection ordinance amendment introduction.
Yes, thank you. Attached is an ordinance to amend our existing cross-connection control ordinance. Cross-connection control is something that Eagle requires local water system operators to do, to inspect their water system to make sure that there's no points where users can backflow into the public water system. It's been a requirement that residential properties be part of the cross-connection control program for some time. We have not been doing that. It's time for us to start. The Oakland County Water Resources Commissioner is our water maintenance partner, and they will be doing this program for us.
Oh.
The budgeted funds for this will be coming from what we already pay them as part of our maintenance contract. But they have some ordinance amendments that they have requested to align our ordinance with their plan, and specifically to reference their plan as our cross-connection control plan. We did amend this ordinance back in 2019. We had started this program. We did our commercial and non-residential properties. So at that point, we were using HydroCorp as our partner. So we adopted a plan based on HydroCorp input. And so we've done this before, but now we're just amending it again to reference the Oakland County Water Resources Commissioner plan. The Oakland County Water Resources Commissioner will be the ones making contact with households. They're gonna have to get in to do inspections. If they identify any vulnerabilities or sprinkler systems in particular, have to have a backflow preventer to prevent that from flowing back into the public water system. So residents will have to cooperate and allow them to inspect the properties. And if there is a certification required that the backflow preventer is functioning properly, or if there's changes or modifications to their internal plumbing that need to be made to bring that property into compliance with the cross-connection control program, the homeowners will have to do that. So we will certainly hear about this as anytime we start doing something new and imposing new regulations, which have existed for a while, but that we have not yet begun to enforce. Certainly we'll hear some of it, but this is a requirement of Eagle in the state that we have to start doing. So fortunately, Oakland County will handle all the admin side, all the inspections, all the follow-ups for us. They do this for 15 other communities that they are the water system operator for. So this is nothing new for them. The requested action is to schedule a public hearing on this ordinance for the May 14 City Commission meeting. If you have any questions, I can try to answer them.
So, Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
may I ask him a question?
Yes.
So people will need to have, so someone will be coming, will they have to go into people's homes, or is this something, okay. And and then at that point, they'll determine whether or not further action has to be taken to correct a situation that might not be
Yes.
a backflow cross-connection situation? Okay,
And generally for residential property, it is going to be sprinkler systems that
Okay.
are the biggest issue. If you don't have a sprinkler system, very unlikely that you'll
Okay.
have any issues at your property.
Yeah, the Oakland County has some examples on their website to describe what backflow is and what the cross connection is, so that it might help to explain the topic. For example, and their easiest example is, imagine leaving a hose connected to a bucket outside of your house, and somebody opens a fire hydrant. The pressure drop could actually cause water from the bucket to go back in to the pipe as a source for contamination of the fresh water system. They just use that as a quick first example, but there could be other sprinklers and whatnot. And there are devices you can buy to fix that problem, and that's what they're going to be looking for, is to make sure if you have sprinklers or other things that might cause that condition, that you take care of it.
And ultimately, I don't know if we have experience with this from the changes made in 19, but are they going to be accessing everyone's house ultimately? I mean, does every house have to be checked off of this list?
Eventually, yes.
Okay, and do we have any sense of like time frame? I mean, is this like a 5-year? Have they given us? Like, I'm just curious if it's like we're gonna have a season of inspections, or if it's gonna be over a couple years.
It's gonna be over more than a couple years.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you.
Okay, I think we have a motion.
Mayor, I move to schedule a public hearing on the proposed cross-connection control ordinance amendment for the May 14th, 2024 City Commission meeting.
Second.
Any other discussion? May we have a vote?
Commissioner Perry?
Yes.
Commissioner Schmier?
Yes.
Commissioner Budnick?
Yes.
Commissioner Lenko? Mayor Scott?
Yes, the motion carries. We get to talk about it again in a month.
Yay.
All right, city manager's report. What's happening?
What is happening? Well, it's spring, so we're gearing up. Lots of things are going to be happening around town. Woodward Heights is still on target. I don't have a date for when that implementation will begin, but it is still happening. Similarly with the Woodward Streetscape project, tentatively April 15 was the date that we had discussed with the contractor for when they'll be coming back out to begin finishing that work. Although we haven't heard in a few weeks, so I don't know if they'll be here next week or not. I guess that'll be 2 Mondays from now. But they will be coming soon. We anticipate maybe 4 to 6 weeks to finish the rest of that project with minimal disruption to traffic, although some work is being done within the right-of-way, within the curb of the street at Main Street and 696. That's the only remaining on-street work that remains to be done. But again, it should be fairly brief. After that, Kensington Water Main should be starting sometime in June. So we will be getting in touch with residents soon. We're waiting to try to pin down a date for a meeting, a resident meeting, before that starts. So once we can get that pinned down, we can start to reach out to the residents and let people on Kensington know when that pre-construction meeting will be, and also what else they need to be aware of and what they need to do in preparation for that project. Given that we are replacing all the lead service lines along with the water main, that does require us to get into many people's houses to change that water lead. It goes all the way from the water main to the meter inside the house. So that adds time and complexity to the project that we'll be working through. And we'll be doing our annual street maintenance work. You may have noticed around town that we've done some of the spray patching. That's a longer term asphalt. It's like cold patch, but it's got some adhesive agents that help that last longer. We see those last anywhere from 3 to 6 years. So we've done some of the smaller defects in the streets with those. You may have noticed that some of the defects, particularly on Elm Park and at the end of Oakland Park, the larger defects, those were not spray patched because we're going to be replacing those concrete slabs. I don't have, a timeline. The concrete guys aren't up and running yet, but we're trying to get into the front of the line to get our street maintenance work done early this year, as early as possible. So that will be upcoming as well. Another thing we're seeing more around town, as you may have noticed, that some of the street concrete work, it's scaling. And this is something that we're seeing more of, not just us, but communities around here. I guess in 2018 or 19, there was a change to the concrete mix and how they do that. And we've seen this in the past whenever they change concrete mixes that they use. Sometimes what happens is the contractors have to, over time, discover, the way they cure it or pour it or finish it. They may have to adjust how they do that based on the new product they're using. And what we're seeing and what they think may be the case is when they finish the concrete surface, it may be leading to these longer term scaling issues that we're seeing. So some of them on Oakland Park from 2 or 3 years ago. I just noticed it looks like it might be happening on Hanover from 2018. And in a couple other locations around town. So we're aware of it. It's something that it's not just us. There's many communities around here who are seeing that same thing. So if you see that and wonder what's going on,
That's it.
that's it. We don't know what the answer is to it. It may just be redoing those concrete sections, and hopefully, it doesn't keep getting worse. But we're keeping our eye on it. I think that's it. That's all that comes to mind. Any questions?
I guess that's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other business?
you. Mayor?
Yeah.
Thank you. I first off want to say Happy National Library Week from yesterday, April 7th, through April 13th. It's National Library Week. And a special thank you to our Huntington Woods partner library with, is it Deb Hemme? Hemme is the director of the Huntington Woods Library. And, you know, they provide such wonderful service and programming, and, you know, just every year it keeps getting better between them bringing drop boxes to the community center and just all the different programming of, you know, even coming all the way across 696 to provide like library card sign up and everything like that. They're just more than accommodating. And I also want to do a special thank you to our library board members, Mary Foreman and Michelle Curtin, who are doing such a good job of helping keep us informed of the abundance of programming we get from the library. And Shawnee and Greg, who are always helpful in facilitating all of these incredible programs that they do. So just a special
I think
thank
she's
you. to
blushing back there.
them. She should be.
The library is a treasure. They do so much good programming, and you would never know there was a divide between zip codes.
I know.
That's
It's
right.
amazing. They're
One big family
wonderful.
over there. They're really
Thank you to the Huntington Woods Library for giving me my eclipse glasses.
Yes.
Over the
Eclipse
weekend.
glasses, they always have something. Taylor Swift events,
I know, which I heard was
laser
amazing.
tag, it's crazy. Also, I wanted to bring up, we have the Pleasant Ridge auction is coming up for the foundation, which is an amazing resource and an amazing organization that raises money to do beautiful things across the city. And this year they're focused on the kitchen and renovating the kitchen at the community center. And so it's going to be May 18th. You can get your tickets online if you go to pleasantridgefoundation.org or .com. I forget which one, but you will find it easily. You'll be able to see all the details. You can buy your tickets online. But what I want to ask for all the different Pleasant Ridge residents and businesses is, you know, it's our opportunity to also help make this auction a success. And so we all need to dig in and help with the baskets. We can do a basket for our streets and for our blocks. So donate something that is a fun package for people to bid on. And it makes the auction, you know, hence it's called an auction. It's a fun, silent auction, so much fun. And, you know, there's going to be a great dinner and drinks and other merriment with all of our neighbors. It's a great way, if you're a new resident, a couple of us were talking about trying to like host a new resident pre-party, just to sort of, so you don't feel like you're walking into something where you know no one. And so we'll try and help even buffer that. So don't hesitate to reach out. You can get in touch with any of us commissioners. We can help you. Or my email is aperry@cityofpleasantridge.org. But I'll be reaching out to all of you folks about baskets for your block clubs. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
May 18th.
May 18th. Anything else from anyone?
Yeah, Mayor, real quick, I had a thought, and regarding the Ferndale School or Roosevelt, the police being out there in the mornings and afternoons, you know, for the kids. It's with what's happened in, you know, the past few years, and, you know, just with the horrific tragedies and, you know, with schools, it's so nice to walk in and have an officer that's there every morning crossing, and it's just so nice to see. And I was thinking, I wonder if Oak Park or whomever for the new Roosevelt or the new Ferndale Lower would reciprocate that. I think it's just such a nice touch to have that in the morning and then afternoon and dismissal. So it was just something that I thought of that would be a nice segue to hopefully they can pick up where we left off. So maybe we can talk over a ponchki and a beer. And that's all.
Awesome.
Thank you. Yep.
Okay, I think we are ready to adjourn. Would someone like to adjourn?
Mayor, I move that we adjourn.
Is there a second on that? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, the meeting is done. Thanks, everyone.
Made and